This week is the first week of the New York Transit Museum's Nostalgia Holiday Train. Now, if you don't know what the Holiday Train is, it's basically an event every winter around Christmas time where the Transit Museum will take an old train and run it in regular service for passengers to ride. This year, the New York Transit Museum is featuring the R1, R9 train set. This is basically just a mishmash of old cars from the R1 to the R9 series, and it is a 9-car train this year, which I think is going to be very great. That means there's going to be a lot of space for people to spread out, and I think it makes 4 trips in each direction, so it's like every 2 hours. I'll post up the schedule somewhere on the screen. I normally don't ride on the first train for events like this just because of how crazy things can get. For stuff like grand openings, yes, I'll try to get on the first train, but for events where I can just get on any weekend, I usually wait till the second or the third weekend before I get on. So this is the first weekend where I'm getting on the first train, so hopefully it's not too crazy. We'll see how it goes, but you're gonna find out with me. Alright, it seems like the holiday train's already here. It hasn't started boarding yet, so I'm gonna head over to the other platforms. Passengers are already lining up by the front doors in order to get their chance to look out the railfan window. The railfan window doesn't exist anymore in modern day trains, so it's a special treat for everyone who gets the chance to look out the front window on this train. I, on the other hand, am looking for a spot with less people just so that I don't have to fight for a seat on the train. The platform is pretty crowded with many people excited to get on board. Gotta say, I love the fact that they have the whole train decorated in stickers. But soon enough, the doors open and we got our chance to board the train.
Where do you want to sit?
As I get settled into my seat, I noticed that it also has built-in armrests, which is pretty cool for a train that was made in the 1930s. The seats are made of a stiff, springy material that likes to bounce back after being pushed. The train surprisingly has a similar seating layout to trains that are still in service today. But after some of the last unsuspecting passengers find their way onto the train, it is time for the train to depart and make its way to 145th Street. However, we had a slight delay because crews were still working on the train, making sure that everything was functioning properly. Thankfully, there were a lot of crews on board this train, so any problem was usually resolved quickly. And 3 minutes after our scheduled departure time, we are finally departing the station. Now you might have already been able to guess, but the train car that I'm in and the train car that's directly in front of me are not the same, and that's because this train is a consist of different rail cars from the R1 through R9 series. Now we're going to take a closer look at that later in this video once we get to the other end of the line, and I'll explain why when we get there. Looks like one stop in, we already have our first door problem. But luckily the crews on board were able to sort it out quickly and we were back on our way. Today in 2023, this is what it's like waiting for a D train at 34th Street, Herald Square. This is going to be the closest experience that we can get to what it was like almost 90 years ago. Here at Herald Square, there are many lucky, unsuspecting riders who get a chance to ride this train today. Herald Square is where you begin to notice the difference between passengers who were there intentionally and passengers who got lucky and caught this train. After departing 59th Street, the train goes on its longest non-stop stretch of the entire journey. From here, the train goes full speed towards 125th Street, and even though this train is 90 years old, it is still pushing it. Now that I'm close to the end of my journey, taking a look at my seat, there's a decent amount of legroom here for me to stretch out so I don't feel cramped. I also have the armrest to me by the window so I can lay down my elbow, and it is a very comfortable seat. Additionally, the design seems like it includes a two-piece seat so that if there's a spill, the spill will go in between the seats and can pour out, which is pretty ingenious for 1930s engineering. As I arrived my penultimate stop at 125th Street, I have to say overall this was a fantastic journey. The onboard volunteers did a great job of keeping this 90-year-old train in service, and even though there were some problems, they were very adamant about making sure that they fixed them as quick as possible. But as I arrive 145th Street, I'm not quite done just yet. See, this train will arrive 30 minutes before its next scheduled departure back to 2nd Avenue. That gives me plenty of time to walk through the train and take a look at the different cars. And it looks like the door is filled once again. It's kind of a funny way to send me off at this point. Now that the train is going to be at this station for the next 30 or so minutes, we have plenty of time to take a walk around the train and see the different cars. While I don't know the history of each car on this train, what I do know is that they're all different trains that are very, very similar. So pay attention to the different details on each car. Things to look out for include the different seats, paint jobs, ceiling fans, lamps, as well as straps to hold on to. Also keep an eye out for different ads and maps throughout the years. So if you have some free time, I suggest checking out the holiday train. And here's how you can do so. I'll start off again by posting the service hours as well as the stations the train is going to stop at. Now if you're trying to catch the train at an intermediate station, you're still in luck, because the MTA actually has the trains on their countdown clocks. You just need to look for a D train going to 145th Street if you're heading north, or a D train headed towards 2nd Avenue if you're going south. But I hope you enjoyed, and good luck catching the train.